This
Okay.
wife says, is it wrong that my husband can't make me orgasm? Only I can. Even during vaginal intercourse, I have to be stimulating myself in order to orgasm. So I would actually love if Tish, you could start off, as this question did come from a woman. What's your perspective on this?
Yeah, I think it's really important to know that number one, not every woman can orgasm by vaginal entry only. And so some women can, but not every woman can orgasm just through intercourse. And so I think I would just
Say
really
that's like the majority that can't, because I feel like I feel like that's kind of common to not be able to do it during
Totally. Like 2/3 of women,
yeah.
aren't able to orgasm with intercourse alone. Totally.
Yeah, so very, very normal. So I would want to normalize her experience. And then I think I would want to, talk to this wife and just kind of maybe if it's normalized, it can give them space to kind of talk about how they're experiencing their, kind of intimacy and what they would like to see happen. If she would like to invite her husband to be kind of a part of stimulating her, and if they would like that to be more of a couple's experience, if they're okay with how it's going, I think I would want to like really normalize that. The question is, do they feel connected? Is it enjoyable? Is it an experience that they both feel really good about? And if it is, then it's like, that's great. And if there is kind of a place where she would say, hey, I really want to invite my husband to, maybe be the one that's stimulating me, but I think I would just really want to encourage her to be open about that, to feel bold about talking to her husband about that. Like, how is her husband experiencing that? And I think just to have a curiosity that sexuality in a relationship is really meant to be playful. It's meant to be fun, and the idea is that we would be continuing to grow and be curious and be able to increase our sexual repertoire as a couple. And so I think I would just really want to invite the couple to have an open conversation about their experience and about what they want.
Totally.
Yeah, that's great. That's such an empowering answer to that question too. I love that. I think that's awesome. Josh, what would you kind of respond to that?
Yeah, I was just loving the piece about recognizing how we can sometimes confine ourselves within a box or be comparing ourselves to other people's experience. And we're going, is it supposed to be like this? Is it okay for it to be like this? Is it allowed to be like this? And can really compare our experience as though there's some kind of one set standard way to connect in the way it's supposed to be. And I appreciate Tish's answer and just saying, hey, sex is really about us connecting and enjoying the experience together. And let's not assume that there's a problem just because it's different than maybe a girlfriend's experience or someone else's experience. And so if it works for us, if it's a fun, connective, playful thing, if it's kind of the aligns with the heart of God in terms of sexuality and enjoying a connective experience together, let's not jump to the conclusion that it's that there's something wrong or a problem that's there, and instead be curious about and have the dialogue and conversation about it. And I'd also want to add then that it is totally normal for a wife to be more informed about what feels good to her than her husband, right? Like, he is not connected to your nerve endings.
That was
right?
going to kind of be part two to this question, was going to be, what's the science behind, the wife having that orgasm or being stimulated? Like, what's the science behind that?
Totally. Yeah. So there's this reality that men aren't like equipped with some sort of chemical they disperse out that causes a orgasm in a woman, or a secret knowledge that's kind of embedded into male DNA that knows how to pleasure every woman to orgasm. Like, that's just not reality. That's not true at all. And that every woman is so
Nice though,
different.
right?
Right. There's a kind of cultural myth, right? That a real man is going to know how to kind of, pleasure every woman to orgasm
You're
perfectly.
like, no, real men don't know what to do. Like,
For real. Real men have the courage to be honest with themselves and have an honest dialogue with their partner about, hey, you're going to have to share feedback and show the way, because even what feels great in one experience may be very different in the next. And so I'd say it's a really common thing for a wife to have to lead the way in terms of understanding her body and understanding her pathways to orgasm.
It's like every woman is different.
mm-hmm.
Every woman's experience is different from encounter to encounter.
Mm-hmm.
And so there is not like a surefire straight shot. Like if I do this to my wife every single time, then it's for sure going to be an enjoyable, pleasurable experience for her. Like women are created physiologically so complex, and our hormone levels. And
I was going to say, we don't even know.
Right. No, exactly. And so even whenever you think about the actual science of, stimulating a woman, that an exact touch at an earlier part of the arousal process might feel unpleasant, might feel uncomfortable, might feel ticklish, versus that same touch later on in the arousal process when her body is more aroused could feel very pleasurable. And so there's no scenario that any man could figure out and know, I have cracked the code. But it's like feminine sexuality is really designed for there to have to be an open dialogue, which I really think that was by God's design.
Yeah.
Totally.
Right. And I feel like when she is enjoying it more and things are better for her, it makes it better for him too. And it just makes the whole thing very harmonious in the way it was designed to be.
Yes, you're so right, Tori. And I think that's such a key piece to understand in a sexual relationship is, the enjoyment that we have when our spouse is enjoying themselves, and how that is an accelerator for us, and that it is totally legitimate. And for, a lot of men, I'd say most men, if not all men, that there's a real turn on for a husband, for man, in seeing and hearing and knowing that his wife is enjoying herself sexually. And so that only becomes an issue or a problem as far as who's doing what when there's an expectation of some sort there, that, I'm supposed to be doing this, not you, or you're supposed to be doing this, not me. And there's these kind of expectations that create judgment, create performance anxiety, and fear of disappointment. Those are the things that then get in the way of the experience.
Right.
Expectations, I feel like, it can be a couple's worst enemy.
Mm-hmm.
And really unfair in setting the couple up for a sense of failure, and that kills the whole atmosphere of it being fun and playful, and for there to be curiosity and connection. And so I think being able to say, hey, let's not have expectations of it has to be this one right way.
So true. So true. Yeah. Do either of you have, I guess, an example in, one of your experiences, your clients, where this conversation has come up kind of expectations, of sexual expectations? Can either of you give kind of an example of that?
Let me think about this. Like every single couple that I've ever worked with,
That's great. That's good.
Like it really all started with Adam and Eve, right? It was the first conversation that was had kind of around this. I wasn't there, but I can tell you for sure it happened,
Yeah.
right? That it's just reality, that we grow up with these expectations that come from the locker room, that come from media, that come from, who knows where, right? About what it's supposed to be like, what a what male sexuality is supposed to look like, what female sexuality, what sex between husband and wife is supposed to be like. And that creates all sorts of internal anxiety and pressure and comparison against this idealized sexual self and what that's supposed to be. And so every individual brings that into their relationship. And so every couple has to have this conversation because it's happening inside your head, whether or not you're having it between you or not. These things are there and are part of what's going on.
Yeah. So true. So true.